His name was Tinku. He was an orange tabby cat. He was a very friendly cat. He lived in a small, cozy house in Bangladesh. Tinku often wore clothes just like people. Today, he wore his favorite white ganji. It was a little cotton vest. He also wore a smart blue checkered lungi. The lungi was tied neatly around his small waist. Tinku was on an important mission this morning. The sun was just beginning to climb the sky. It painted the clouds in soft shades of orange and pink. Tinku trotted happily along the dusty village path. Little sparrows chirped sweetly in the mango trees overhead. He could smell the fresh morning dew on the green grass. Soon he heard the distant, familiar hum of activity. The sounds of people talking and calling out to each other. The bustling fish market was not far away now. He quickened his little paws, his whiskers twitching with excitement. Tinku soon arrived at the edge of the busy market. It was a very lively place, full of energy. So many different sounds filled the morning air at once. Men were shouting loudly about their fresh goods for sale. Women were bargaining keenly for the best possible prices. Chickens clucked and squawked from their bamboo coops. The strong, salty smell of fresh fish was everywhere. It mixed with the sweet scent of spices and blooming flowers. Tinku's nose quivered. He was ready for his adventure. Tinku took a deep, happy breath. He truly loved the sights and sounds of the fish market. It was always so full of life and vibrant colors. He stepped carefully onto the slightly muddy ground. His blue and white checkered lungi swished a little as he walked. Some people in the crowd smiled when they saw a cat. A cat dressed so smartly was a charming sight. Tinku nodded politely to a few familiar faces. He was focused. He needed to find the very best fish. Above the narrow market lanes, there were many tarps. These tarps were stretched tightly from one bamboo pole to another. They were made of different bright, cheerful colors. There were red tarps, bright blue tarps, and sunny yellow tarps. They formed a patchwork roof over the bustling stalls below. The warm sunlight peeked through tiny holes and gaps. It created playful dancing patterns on the ground. The colorful tarps protected everyone from the hot sun. It felt like walking through a big, festive tent. The market was a wonderfully noisy and exciting place. Vendors called out loudly, their voices full of energy. They wanted to attract customers to their stalls. "Fresh fish, lovely fresh fish, come and see," one man shouted. "Best prices in the market right here," called another woman. Buyers were talking loudly too, inspecting the goods. They were trying to get good deals on their purchases. Children laughed and played, running between the busy stalls. The sound of chopping and water splashing added to the lively chorus. Everywhere Tinku looked, there was fish, so much fish. There were big fish and many small silvery fish. Some fish were a shiny silver, others a deep reddish color. Many types of fish were laid out neatly on fresh banana leaves. Others were piled high in wide, shallow wicker baskets. Fishermen were still arriving from the river. They carried nets heavy with their morning's fresh catches. The scales of the fish gleamed and sparkled in the light. It was a truly magnificent sight for a fish-loving cat. Tinku moved skillfully and gracefully through the bustling crowd. He was a small cat, agile and light on his feet. This meant he could easily slip past people's legs. He carefully avoided the big baskets and busy, hurrying feet. He saw many familiar faces as he made his way. Some of the friendly vendors waved at him with a warm smile. Tinku was searching for something very special today. He was looking for fresh Eilish fish, his absolute favorite. He hoped to find a big, shiny one for his lunch. Tinku walked deeper into the heart of the market. His little pink nose twitched this way and that. He was searching for that special, delicious smell of Eilish. And then he saw it. A stall with beautiful, gleaming Eilish. The Eilish fish were long and perfectly silver. They looked incredibly fresh and very, very tasty. An old, kind-looking vendor sat patiently behind the stall. He had a gentle smile and wise, knowing eyes. This was the stall Tinku had been looking for. The fish vendor was an elderly man with a kind face. His skin was wrinkled like an old, treasured map. He wore a simple white dhoti and a clean cotton vest. He had a long, flowing beard as white as snow. He sat quietly on a low wooden stool, watching the customers. His hands were gnarled but very skillful and quick. He had been selling fish in this market for many, many years. He knew all there was to know about every kind of fish. He looked up and smiled as Tinku approached his stall. Tinku walked with a confident little swagger towards the Eilish stall. "Good morning to you, uncle," Tinku meowed in a polite voice. The old vendor's smile widened warmly at the sight of him. "Ah, Tinku, a very good morning to you too, little one." The vendor knew Tinku very well from his previous visits. Tinku often came to this particular stall for his Eilish. "Are you looking for some fine Eilish today, my friend?" the vendor asked. Tinku nodded his head eagerly, his eyes shining brightly. Yes, he certainly was. Tinku stood up on his hind legs to get a better view. He peered very closely at the rows of Eilish fish. He sniffed them carefully one by one with his delicate nose. He looked for clear, bright eyes, a sign of freshness. He gently touched one of the larger fish with his soft paw. He wanted only the freshest, plumpest Eilish available. The vendor watched him with a look of fond amusement. He knew that Tinku was a very discerning and careful customer. Tinku took his time, making his important choice. After a long, careful inspection, Tinku made his decision. He pointed with his little white paw to a beautiful Eilish. It was plump and shiny, the most perfect one on the stall. "That one, if you please, uncle," Tinku said clearly. The vendor picked up the chosen fish with a knowing smile. He held it up for Tinku to see and approve. Tinku nodded his head in satisfaction. Yes, that was the one. The vendor then placed the fish on his old brass weighing scales. He added small, smooth metal weights to balance the scale. "That will be a very fair price for you, Tinku," the vendor said kindly. He named a price for the lovely silvery fish. Tinku tilted his head to one side, pretending to think hard. He then offered a slightly lower price, as was the custom. This was all part of the friendly game of the market, a little bit of gentle, good-natured bargaining between friends. The vendor chuckled softly, his eyes twinkling. "All right for you, Tinku, that special price is fine." They both agreed with happy smiles. It was a good deal. Tinku reached into a small, colorful pouch. The little pouch was tied securely to his blue lungi. He carefully counted out the shiny coins for his purchase. He placed them one by one into the vendor's waiting hand. The vendor took the money with a polite nod. He then took the splendid Eilish fish from the scales. He wrapped it neatly in a large, fresh green banana leaf. Then, he tied the parcel securely with a piece of jute string. It was a very nice parcel for Tinku to carry home. Tinku took his precious fish parcel gently in his mouth. He held it carefully, making sure it was secure. "Thank you very, very much, uncle," he purred happily. "Enjoy your delicious meal, Tinku," the kind vendor replied with a wave. Tinku turned and walked away from the busy stall. His heart was full of contentment and simple joy. The sun was higher in the bright sky now. He trotted happily along the path towards his little home. He was already dreaming of the wonderful Eilish curry he would enjoy. What a truly perfect and wonderful day it was turning out to be.